fraught with controversy. In the 7th inning, Mookie Wilson's drive into right center field could have been caught, but it goes for a triple as Mookie is at third base with the Mets leading at this point 4-2. The very next hitter, Tim Teufel, starts to step out of the batter's box. Tom Browning is called for a balk by home plate umpire Eric Gregg, who says that Browning started his motion home and then stopped. The balk brings Mookie Wilson in from third with the 5th New York run, and the Mets now lead at 5-2. Browning none too happy. The next pitch to Tim Teufel is right in the middle of Teufel's back. Now Darryl Strawberry, who had homered earlier in the game off of Browning, is the first to charge the mound from the dugout. Both benches empty. The bullpens are there. There's lots of pushing and shoving going on. Not really a fight, but then as the umpires restore order, Strawberry and Browning are both ejected from the game. The Reds eventually tie the game, and then in the 9th inning, Mookie Wilson, with 2 out, hits a ground ball to Barry Larkin at short. Larkin's throw pulls a Sasky off the bag, as pointed out by Bill Robinson. No call initially from Pallone, who then says safe, and on the play, Howard Johnson scores from first. Dave Pallone and Pete Rose go at it, and we'll have not only more on the fight, the controversy, and the aftermath, but a whole other ball game for you as well, coming up next from Cincinnati right here on WWOR. From Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio, it's Mets Baseball 88 as this afternoon the Mets take on the Cincinnati Reds. And Mets Baseball 88 is brought to you today by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide. By Nissan Cars and Trucks, built for the most important race of all, the human race. By Metropolitan Life. Get Met. It pays. By the New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages, the one that works. And by the New York Daily News, New York's hometown paper. Pitching for the Mets this afternoon, the doctor. Doc Gooden's on the mound, 5-0 with an ERA of 2.83. While on the mound for the Reds, it's left-hander Dennis Rasmussen, who's 1-2 with an ERA of 4.70.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Kiner, along with Steve Zabriskie and Tim McCarver. And hooray, hooray, the 1st of May. And Dwight Gooden is pitching today. And April wasn't bad either for the New York Mets, as they had their best win record ever, winning 15 and losing only 6 ball games in the month of April. And Tim, the month of April ended on a rather abrupt note.
Boy, I should say so. The Mets 15-6, and last night's game was filled with more controversy than you can imagine. As a matter of fact, there was so much controversy that we've devoted our entire pregame show to that one play, and that doesn't often happen. But I'll tell you one thing, it's a good thing it's a 2:15 start because you need a lot of time.
And we have it all for you right now, so let's go down to Steve Zabriskie.
Thanks, Ralph, and hi, everybody. Last night's game, of course, decided in the 9th inning when the Mets scored the eventual winning run on a very controversial play at first base. And before the game today, we talked with all of the principals involved.
Well, I really don't agree that I had a lot to do with it. It was just a case where I was just really doing my job as if I felt that the umpire or umpires miss a play, I'm to argue until I can get reinforcement from Davey Johnson. I thought that Dave Pallone made one heck of a call. As you could probably seen on the replay, that Nicky Sasky was clearly off the base, and I thought it was really a gutsy call from Dave Pallone. His only problem was he sort of hesitated, and that's really what the whole controversy is about. I did not throw the ball up the first base line to pull Sasky off the base. I didn't think that Nick was in position really to get Howard as he was rounding third base, because Sammy Palazzo, our third base coach, was clearly sending, as we look at it on the replay, was clearly sending him. And I thought Dave Pallone had really called the guy out, and I was coming out to really argue. And Pete had said something that I had made a perfect pick for Nick Sasky, and as you see on the replay, Nick wasn't even looking, was not even aware that Howard Johnson was coming in to score. So really I had nothing to do with it other than just really reinforcing that that Nick Esaski was clearly off of first base, and really, as far as I'm concerned, that was it.
Well, first of all, I felt like I was on the bag. The throw was up the line a little bit, but I stretched out there and I felt my foot on the bag. Then after I caught the ball, I came up. And usually on a play like that, when there's a man on second base and there's 2 outs, you want to have a quick call at first base there. And I didn't hear nothing for a while, and so I felt like I was on the bag. When I feel like that, I don't have to worry about making a play at home plate. But I turned to look at home and didn't hear a call and looked back at first. Then he called safe. Then after that, it was too late. You know, I didn't think I had a chance at Hojo at home there. And just the fact where he didn't call right away, I felt like I had the guy at first base. And after that, then all heck broke loose.
I think they might have had a play, but I believe I would have been safe. I saw the replay, especially last night. And Esaski, when he caught the ball towards the outfield side of the base, he didn't really turn right away to the plate to see what was going on. So that, to me, tells me I would have made it. The other thing that I want to say about the play was when I crossed the plate, I didn't remember seeing anybody around it. I don't know where McClendon was or the pitcher. Nobody was over there to even cover the plate. So just for a possibility that they had thrown the ball there, I don't know if there's anybody there to tag me to make a play.
Did you notice whether or not the Reds had anybody covering home plate?
Well, I think Howard was talking to me after the game, and I think he was right. I think Lloyd was just up to first base side a little bit. Whether he'd have been able to come back and make the tag, I don't know.
It should be noted that we gave the opportunity to both first base umpire Dave Pallone and crew chief John Kibler to come on and tell their side of the story, but National League Supervisor of Umpires Ed Vargo would not allow them to come on, nor would Eddie come on and give us his version as well. There was one other guy who was involved in the play last night, sort of after the fact, in a big way, and that's Reds manager Pete Rose. In a minute, Tim McCarver will be here to talk about it with Pete. And we'll be right back for that after this from Budweiser.
Tim McCarver back at Riverfront Stadium, and the controversy last night, you heard it from the Mets side. Let's hear it from Pete Rose's side. Pete, one of the most controversial plays I've ever seen, really, and certainly the highlight of this season, or the low light as far as you're concerned. What happened?
Well, it cost us the ball game. I was disappointed with the call. I was disappointed with the timing from the time the ball hit the glove right there until he called him safe. See, Nick looked at home right there. Now, it's all right. It was a nice base running gesture on Howard Johnson and the coach's situation at third base, but when you give a guy a 3-second delay, it makes it a lot easier. I mean, I want to know if he's out or safe right now, not 3 seconds afterwards, and I think that's what I was arguing about. I don't know if he got the play right or wrong as far as safe or out. And then I pushed him right there because he hit me in the face. I don't know why I pushed him in the second time. I shouldn't have did that. As a matter of fact, I shouldn't have pushed him the first time, but I'm pretty competitive myself, and I know we just lost the lead to the Mets, a great ball club in the 9th inning, and I didn't think it was fair. It wasn't fair to my team. It wasn't fair to the fans. And to be honest with you, it wasn't even fair to the Mets.
And speaking about fairness now, what do you think actions by League President Bart Giamatti? Do you think he'll take any action as far as a suspension is concerned, or have you heard from him?
Not unless he was listening to you and Fran last night. I don't know what he'll do. I mean, I'll just tell him my side of the story. And like I said, I was wrong for pushing the umpire. You shouldn't do that. But he was wrong for poking me. He could have poked my eye out. I mean, you can see the abrasion that he gave my face. If it hits me in the eye right there, I don't know what I might have did if he hit me in the eye. I mean, you know me. You play with me. I'm pretty competitive. But my whole argument, Tim, was the fact that he took too long to make the call. He did not give my first baseman a chance to react to Hojo going around third base. I don't know if we'd have won the game. We might have played extra innings because we didn't score in the 9th inning. So he didn't give my ball club the fair chance to win the game.
In other words, whether Esaski had a shot at Johnson or not is irrelevant, but at least you got to give him an opportunity to make a play at home.
From watching the replay, I have to believe that he would have had a shot, because if you looked at the replay, Nick looked at home plate. He was aware of Howard going around third base. But then he wanted to look and see if he was out or safe.
Did anybody on your ball club comment as to whether Bill Robinson was in fair territory while the play was still happening?
No, I mean, I heard that by the time that he was in fair territory, the guy already scored. So he must really be a Jet. Now watch. Now look at all the time. Now, he hasn't called anything. Now Nick looks at home. He still hasn't called yet. Now Bill's in fair territory. Now he's signaling safe. What's Bill? What Bill is arguing? Why is he arguing if he's safe?
So if Nick has a play there,
arguing for if he's safe.
So you feel like Robinson may have influenced the call?
Well, no question. Bill called to play. Dave Pallone just agreed with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing for a coach to do there if he can get away with it. Bill's pretty shy. He's pretty sneaky doing that. I like that. Maybe I'll tell Lee May to do that today.
The irrepressible Pete Rose. And we'll see if Lee May is going to do it today, right after this word from Meineke Mufflers.
Beautiful day for baseball. The temperature in the middle 70s, and you're looking at Mr. Pallone, Dave Pallone, who was the umpire mixed up in the controversy in yesterday's ball game. Back in action here today. There had been rumors that he might not umpire today, or he might umpire at second base, but he is in his regular rotation behind home plate, and he'll be doing the balls and strikes for this ball game. The Reds in third place, 3.5 games out, and they have on the mound Dennis Rasmussen with a record of 1-2. He has an earned run average of 4.70. He's walked 10, struck out 8, given up 25 hits and 23 innings of work. His first appearance ever against the New York Mets.
Speaking of the Mets, Mookie Wilson leading it off and playing center field. Tim Teufel batting second. Keith Hernandez, the first baseman, hitting third. Darryl Strawberry with his 6th home run last night, batting 4th. Kevin McReynolds in left field hitting 5th. Howard Johnson, the third baseman, batting 6th. Barry Lyons is behind the plate this afternoon. Kevin Elster, the shortstop, hitting 8th. And the doctor, Dwight Gooden, on the mound.
And Rasmussen will be backed up by Sasky at first, Redway at second, Larkin at short. Sabo playing third. Daniels, Davis, and O'Neill in the outfield, and the catcher is McGriff. Mookie Wilson brings a 9-game hitting streak into this game. He's 10 for 34 over that period, with 7 runs batted in. 2 for 9 in this series. And Mookie hitting at .276 for the year with 2 home runs, 10 runs batted in. First pitch of the ball game, a breaking ball, and it's strike 1. Mookie hitting .299 last season with 9 home runs. .276 so far this year, and he swings and misses, and it's strike 2. Rasmussen last year with the Yankees had a record of 9-7. He was traded near the end of the season to the Reds, and with the Reds he had a record of 4-1, an overall record of 13-8 last year. And the fastball fouled away. So far this year, Rasmussen has pitched 1 complete game, and it was a shutout against San Francisco, a 4-hit shutout. He is a much-traveled ball player. He was traded to the Yankees for Tommy John, traded to San Diego for Montefusco, traded back to the Yankees for Nettles, and acquired by the Reds for Gullickson. And that pitch of ball, it's 1-2. Born in Los Angeles, California, his grandfather played in the major leagues. This ball hit out to center field. Moving up is Eric Davis. 1 away. That'll bring up Tim Teufel. Tim 3 for 7 so far in this series. Hitting at .190 for the year with no home runs, 5 runs batted in. Teufel hit by a pitch ball by Tom Browning in yesterday's ball game, and that precipitated the melee that took place out near the pitcher's mound when Darryl Strawberry charged from the dugout. Strawberry had thought he was thrown at earlier in the ball game. Browning hit 2 in the game yesterday. Carter and Teufel, and the pitch back. A strike call. He did it the professional way. He threw right at the middle of a player's back as you look at Darryl Strawberry, and that's one place that you can get him every time, because you just can't get out of the way when that ball goes at your number. 1-2 the count to Tim Teufel. And the breaking ball, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I guess if there's a pitcher in the National League that you can compare Rasmussen to, it would be Jim Deshaies of the Houston Astros. Deshaies pitching, by the way, on Thursday when the Astros in town. Tall, throws a high fastball.
This ball lined to left center field. It'll be in there for extra bases. Davis takes it on the bounce, and Tuffle, showing signs of coming out of that batting slump, hits a double for the first hit of the ball game.
Timmy's been involved in both the victories, very integrally involved, as a matter of fact. And here's that fastball. But Rasmussen, the fat part of the plate, and big league hitters take care of those.
Tuffle last year hit .308 with 14 home runs and 61 RBIs. And the Mets have a base runner with 1 out, and Keith Hernandez batting. Keith in this series 2 for 8, hitting a .203 for the year with 3 home runs, 15 runs batted in. Keith has been on a hot streak. And the fastball for ball 1. Keith in his last 4 games, 6 hits and 17 at bats, hitting .353 with 3 home runs and 11 runs batted in. And the fastball again, 2 balls, no strikes. On that pitch, Treadway, the second baseman, was covering at the bag at second and was out of position.
And what your middle infielders want the pitchers to do is to step off when that happens. There you see Treadway going over toward the bag, and when they're out of position and vacate the right side, especially with the left-hander up there, you want your pitcher to step off, get the sign again. No sense in holding Tuffle that close anyway. He's not going anywhere.
That is for sure. And that pitch, a called strike, 2-1. Trying to shorten Tuffle up where he can't score on a base hit. He did score in the first game of this series with a winning run after a double in the 9th inning from second on a base hit to left field by Keith Hernandez. It's winning both of their games by 1 run against the Reds. And this ball hit foul into the Cincinnati dugout. It flies out back in the field.
Doggy.
Tony Perez.
Tony Perez, his nickname, affectionately Doggy. What a player he was. 379 major league home runs. And the batting instructor for the Cincinnati Reds.
Oldest player to hit a grand slam home run.
Hope nobody got plunked there. Yeah, Tony hit it his last at bat, right?
I believe it was.
I think 2 years ago, October 4th or something like that.
Might have been July 4th. It's on a big day. "23 years in the major leagues for Tony Perez. October 4th, you're right. I knew it was something to do with the 4th. And that big slow curveball, 3-2.
The day before he retired as a player. That's kind of how I had remembered it. This ball just inside, but very close. That looping curveball to Hernandez.
Oldest player to hit a home run was Cap Anson at 46 of age. This one down the line, and it'll be extra bases in all probability. Tuffle scores easily. Hernandez on his way to second. He just does get in there. So back-to-back doubles, and the Mets have the lead 1-0.
Well, the full count after missing with the breaking ball. Another fat fastball by Rasmussen. Tuffle scores easily, and Hernandez easily has a double. Relatively, Tuffle scored more easily than Hernandez went to second. Put it that way.
No doubt about that. And now the batter will be Darryl Strawberry. And Darryl takes a curveball for ball 1. Darryl hitting .361 with 6 home runs, 10 runs batted in. He's 3rd in the National League. Make that 4th in the National League in batting average. Mike Scioscia leading the league at .404 in the National League. And Darryl pops it up in foul territory. And Sabo makes the play, 2 men away. That'll bring up Kevin McReynolds. Reynolds hitting .318 with 3 home runs, 9 runs batted in.
I'll tell you, Ralph, as you see Osaski going out to talk to Rasmussen, one of the nice things to see and a consoling thing to see this afternoon is the crowd's reaction to home plate umpire Dave Pallone. After an initial booing, it's almost as though the crowd realizes that, not that they're all the same people, obviously, but they realize that there might have been an overreaction last night, and there's almost a placid effect with the crowd right now. Do you feel that?
I do. They've settled in for a ball game.
Uh-huh.
Not out here.
Everything's forgotten. Of course, if there's any controversial play concerning Pallone today,
it'll erupt again.
Yeah, right.
14 minutes of delay in last night's game to get the debris off the field after the argument at first between Pallone and Pete Rose. That pitch is strike 1-1 to Kevin McReynolds.
That's all you hear in the clubhouse was the buzzing of the players about how frightening it was out there in the bottom of the 9th inning. Hernandez and Howard Johnson both wearing hard hats, and Pallone left the game. Only 3 umpires to end the game.
Hard ground ball to third. Sabo, who's done quite a job at third base, throws it in the dirt. And it's not handled by Osaski, and that'll be a throwing error. Sabo tied a major league record for its assists back on April the 7th against St. Louis with 11.
I tell you, he throws this ball like his arm is hurting. He kind of short arms the ball over there. Watch him lead with his elbow. When a player throws a ball like that, it's almost like the shoulder is hurting. And that in-between hop, and Osaski can't come up with it.
Buddy Bell, the regular third baseman, is on the DL. And he is a great fielding third baseman, but Sabo has filled in very ably with Bell unable to play. Now the batter will be Howard Johnson. And the first pitch, the curveball, and it's strike 1. Johnson hitting .177, 3 home runs, 9 runs batted in. Howard in this series 1 for 7. And he scored the winning run from second base in last night's ball game on a ground ball to the shortstop that was misthrown. Fastball in the count, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Brings up the point that Johnson, even though he's out of the chute sluggishly, has 16 walks and has contributed to the offense in some fashion, kind of like Eric Davis has for the Reds.
Johnson has scored 9 runs in his last 8 games, so the walks have helped.
Yeah, Davis leads the National League in walks with 17, and he has 9 stolen bases also.
A ball call for ball 2, 2 balls, 1 strike. Howard, of course, a big year last year with 36 home runs, 99 runs batted in. 2-1 the count. McReynolds running with a pitch, and the ball taken. No throw to second. A stolen base for Kevin McReynolds.
Because Dennis Rasmussen is 6'7", it takes him a long time to unravel as a pitcher. A lot like Sid Fernandez, even though Sid's not that tall. Rasmussen not paying any attention to McReynolds, and McGriff, the catcher, had no shot at Kevin.
So now with runners at second and third, Rasmussen continuing to throw from the set position, no windup. Two and 2 the count to Howard Johnson, and the foul ball keeps the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. On this road trip, the Mets have been hot. They have won 6 of 7 ball games. The only loss was to a right-hand pitcher, and they've seen a steady diet of left-handers.
You saw Perlazo go 2-2. If you ever see that at the ballpark, what he's telling the runner at second base is that there are 2 strikes and 2 outs. When Johnson, or if you think the ball's a strike and Johnson starts his swing, take off.
And that one outside, so we have a full count of 3 and 2. On deck batter Barry Lyons, who is catching today in place of Gary Carter. Carter not catching with a day game following the night game. And there you see Lyons.
I think
He must
somebody
have got
was
hit by the foul.
Ball by Keith Hernandez. But we're hoping Tony is all right.
And the fastball fouled back out of play. Two men away, 2 men on. The Mets leading 1-0. And we're just underway here on this beautiful day for baseball.
Most of the time when those balls are hitting the dugout, nobody gets injured. But Tony, as you can see, had that foul ball off the bat of Hernandez, hit him in the head.
Must have ricocheted. Again, the 3-2 pitch. And it's topped out toward the shortstop side. Larkin, a good play. The throw is in time. And they pick up the out that ends the inning. Mets score 1 run on 2 hits. There was 1 error and 2 men left. The score at the end of 1/2 inning. The Mets won. The Reds coming up. Now here's a word from AT&T. The mound for the Mets. He has a record of 5-0. An earned run average of 2.83. He has walked 9, struck out 27, given up 32 hits in 35 innings. He has a record of 5-3 against the Reds in his major league career.
The lineup for Cincinnati: Barry Larkin, a local product and a fine player. He's leading off. Chris Sabo, the third baseman, hitting second. Eric Davis, what a player he is, batting third but off to a slow start. Also, his buddy in left field, Cal Daniels, the same. Nick Osaski at first has been hitting well lately. Paul O'Neill, the right fielder, batting sixth. Jeff Treadway, the youngster, batting seventh. Fred McGriff behind the plate today, spelling Bo Diaz, and Rasmussen batting ninth.
And the defense for the Mets: Hernandez at first, Tuffle at second, Elster at shortstop, Johnson at third, McReynolds, Wilson, and Strawberry in the outfield, left to right, and Barry Lyons will be doing the catching for the Mets. Barry Larkin to lead it off, 3 for 9, and right here Pallone out checking the sleeve of Dwight Gooden as we see the first pitch by the right-hander. And it's ball 1. Fastball.
That's that little brace that Doc wears inside his sweatshirt on his left wrist. We mentioned a couple of broadcasts ago that Doc had broken his left wrist playing football in high school. So occasionally it flares up on him, a little arthritis at the ripe age of 23. How can he have arthritis at 23?
He has everything else. A good curve, a fastball, might as well have arthritis. 2 balls, no strikes to Larkin. Larkin bounces it out to Johnson at third. And the throw to first base for the out. In day ball games, Dwight Gooden has a record of 23-15, which is not bad. But in night ball games, he is 55-11. On the road, he has won 34 and lost 14 in his major league career. That has seen him win 78 games while losing over only 26. Now the batter will be Chris Sabo, 1 for 8 in this series. He takes for ball 1. Sabo batting for the first time ever against Dwight Gooden. Batting .263 with 4 home runs, 7 runs batted in. And the fastball again, 2 balls, no strikes. Off to a good start, replacing Buddy Bell at third base. Bell on the disabled list, and of course his father Gus Bell, a great ball player. Fastball bounced out to the shortstop. Elster takes the high bouncing ball, picks up the out.
Real close at first.
Sabo gets down that line. He was a great hockey player, but a golden.
Great golfer, fine athlete. Watch this hop. That's why it's so close. Tricky hop. Just getting Sabo. I'll tell you, the Reds have the best overall speed, in my opinion, in baseball. Overall, top to bottom. The Cardinals have the burners in Smith and Coleman, of course. As far as burning, almost all of these guys can run. Except this guy batting, right?
He can't run a lick.
Nah.
Only about 9.5 speed. 179, though, so far this year with 2 home runs, 7 runs batted in. And the fastball is missed. Davis against the doctor has had 4 hits and 7 at-bats, and he has struck out 2 times. He leads the National League of walks with 17. He's 0 for 4 in this series. Again, the fastball. The Reds losing 3 straight for the first time this year. Their longest winning streak, 2 straight. And they have a record of 11-11, 3.5 games behind Houston. Houston leading the Dodgers by a half game in first place. And a good fastball. Davis, Daniels, and Esaski, the 3, 4, 5 hitters, are 2 for 23 in their last 3 ball games. And they have struck out 14 times. Only Esaski's had a hit in this series. He's had 2. And the fastball fouled back.
Yeah, it's interesting that Cincinnati doesn't create a lot of offense with their outs. A lot of things you can do with outs. Ground balls the other way, sacrifice flies. They either hit the ball or strike out, it seems like. It's an overstatement, but got a very unusual offense.
They explode for their runs. They hit the home run, tear it up that way, but
Speed.
they have that great speed. They lead the National League in stolen bases with 44. They have been successful in stolen bases 85% of the time as a team. And that's a tremendously high average for even a single player. 3-2 to Davis, and the fastball blooped out in the right center. Here comes Tuffle. He made the play. What a catch by Tim Tuffle to take an extra base hit away. Sensational play by Tuffle to end the inning, and the Reds go down 1-2-3. The score at the end of 1. The Mets won, the Reds nothing. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover.
Tim Tuffle coming out of nowhere to rob Eric Davis, and with Davis's speed, it was certainly a double, and if that ball lights and bounces up in the air, Eric may have been on third base. Boy, that was a fine play by Tuffle.
And now we go to the top of the second. The Mets leading 1-0. Barry Lyons takes the slow curve for ball 1. Lyons, a pinch hitter in yesterday's ball game, struck out, hitting 143, and the fastball fouled off. Another good crowd here on a beautiful day for baseball in Cincinnati. Spring has sprung.
Another song to be sung.
What a day. This is Barry Lyons' first start as a catcher for the Mets this year. Last year he started in 30 games. Hits it hard, but it's foul.
See, if more days were like this, I'd like day baseball.
This is blueprint today.
I'm telling you. Gorgeous.
And there's a look at the crowd here today. Curveball bounced up the middle, cut off by Larkin. A nice play again by Barry Larkin. That'll bring up Kevin Elster. Kevin 2 for 6 in this series. Hitting .246 for the year with 2 home runs, 8 runs batted in. In his last 4 games, he's had 8 hits and 14 at-bats. That has got him over the 200 mark. That's over the Mendoza line, right?
Yeah, you know, Mario Mendoza had a lifetime average of 218, though. I think it was 218, lifetime average. And everybody talks about the Mendoza line. That's below 200. Much maligned. At least a 19-point maligner. Maybe a lack of liners, huh? He's right around 220, I think.
I think it's a lot higher than people gave him, really give him credit for. Fastball fouled off. 2 balls, 1 strike.
It's such a great line, though. People after a while never let the facts get in the way of baseball folklore, right?
Never let the facts get in the way of a good story. Although the facts last night were the story.
Facts on one play that gave the Mets the lead 6-5, and that's how they won it.
Three balls, 1 strike. Rasmussen 1-2 in the National League. 1 pitch. Hit in the hole, a base hit. So Elster gets his 3rd hit of this 3-game series and continues to pick up points on his batting average.
Gosh, he's over 250 right now. Kevin, 9 for his last 15. Fat fastball again from Rasmussen. See, when a pitcher throws high fastballs like that, you've got to work both sides of the plate, which means you got to get ahead to do that. Got to work those lanes on the outside and on the inside. The fat part of the plate, high fastballs, guys just crunch those.
And that base hit by Elster brings up Dwight Gooden. Gooden 3 for 12 so far this year. And Elster draws the throw.
Got a 3-game hitting streak, didn't he?
3-game hitting streak. He's driven in 4 runs, and the Reds are not looking for the sacrifice here. Gooden's reputation precedes him. And the runner going with a pitch. The throw down to the shortstop, and the shortstop late in covering.
Yes, sir.
And that gave Elster a stolen base. So Larkin caught napping.
Well, and I think the reason he was late covering was because Gooden had swung away, but we've talked about it. The way to cut down your distance between second and the position is to move in. See, Larkin came from the position over. It was a very close play, but he really missed the tag, it looked like. Boy, it was awfully close. It was closer than it looked with the naked eye, but Elster's in there with his first stolen base of the year.
And the curveball to Gooden for a ball, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
So if you're the shortstop or second baseman, you can't just leave the position, but you got to get closer to second. So how do you do it? You move in, thereby narrowing the distance between the position and second, but not giving up your position.
Hard smash at the second baseman Treadway. Makes a good pickup, picks up the out at first, and Elster holds at second. So 2 men away, and that'll bring up Mookie Wilson batting for the 2nd time. Mookie flied out to center field his first time up, hitting .271 for the season. Last year the Reds defeated the Mets 7 of the 12 games. The Mets have won the first 2 of 12 meetings this year. Mookie getting a lot of playing time with left-handed pitching going against the Mets. The Mets have handled left-hand pitching very well this year. They're 9-4. That's left-handed starters. They have started only 1 right-hander against the Mets in this road trip, and the Mets are 6-1. The right-hander was Danny Cox, and he won in St. Louis a week ago against the Mets. Mets have scored 5 times in the 9th inning in their last 7 ball games. There's a fine record. That is his best year in the major leagues. Strangely enough, after that year, the Yankees sent him back to the minor leagues.
And at the time he went back, I believe he was 8-4. Sent him back to Columbus, and he came up to pitch in the Hall of Fame game
last year.
Right. Traded for Bill Gullickson. Bill Gullickson pitching in Japan now.
And that ball fouled off. He's doing well in Japan, and the Yankees losing him, not able to sign him.
So I guess the Reds made a good deal, because Gullickson probably would have done the same thing with the Reds. The Reds equally, or you have to assume that they would have been equally reluctant to sign Gullickson. So they end up with a pitcher, major league pitcher.
That walk year, when players can leave the ball club, a very important year.
You have that in your contract, don't you?
I can't even crawl.
That's non-existent in broadcasters' contracts, right? Walk years.
Don't have those walk years. No 10-5 either. 2-2 as Rasmussen works with 2 men out here in the second. The Mets leading 1-0. That's with a runner in scoring position.
If you're a free agent in this business, that's exactly what you'd be, free.
2-2, and Mookie again fouls the ball away. Rasmussen has a fine record. He's 44-27 overall. His grandfather, Bill Brubaker, who played for the Pirates and Boston Braves. And Bill, a teammate of mine with Pittsburgh, also in the minor leagues. I played with his grandfather at Albany, New York. Bill was a big, tall fellow, about 6'4". And they count 3-2 to Mookie.
So genetically, Dennis on the right track, right?
Certainly is. 6'7". Tallest pitcher to ever pitch in the majors, 6'9", a pitcher by the name of Johnny Gee. There's a breaking ball for a ball call. Johnny Gee pitched for the Pittsburgh Pirates, 6'9". Later on was a school superintendent in Upper New York. Mookie didn't know that's ball 4. Neither did we.
Well, he got all of us. We went for the head fake.
The count was right on the scoreboard, but he just didn't go down.
It was 4-2 on Mookie.
Joaquin Andujar never liked to walk, and he in the minor leagues was kicked out of 3 ball games because he refused to take a walk. Speaking of walk years.
Walk years.
No runners at first and second. Now the call of ball 4 gets Scott Breeden out to the mound, the pitching coach of the Reds, to talk to Rasmussen as Tim Teufel comes up. Teufel with a double his first time up and a run scored. Back-to-back doubles by Teufel and Hernandez, putting the Mets up 1-0. That's the way it stands as Teufel steps in. Teufel now 4 for 8 in this series. And there is Pete Rose. He's going to have a knee operation Monday.
Heard it playing tennis during the off season. He said he's going to manage tomorrow night, too. He said he's going to have arthroscopic surgery and come out to manage.
He's tough enough to do that.
That's right.
1 strike to count to Tim Teufel. Pete Rose played in more games than anybody, was at bat more times than anybody, had more hits than anybody. Second in doubles to Tris Speaker. What a career. 24 years in the major leagues.
Well,
That's a balk call.
And guess who called it? Dave Pallone, the home plate umpire.
Second balk by Rasmussen, and the 9th for the Reds this year.
I'll tell you, you can say anything you want to about that man right there, but he has shown the guts of a burglar. He calls the balk. No stop, and Pallone up with the arms, and the pitch didn't count. It was a strike, but it's 0-1 to Teufel.
Mets got a run, a big run in yesterday's ball game on a balk with a runner at third by Tom Browning. But that balk was no doubt a balk.
I think the umpires should be commended for the way they handled last night's game. Pallone, as we said, didn't finish it, but he did come out. And boy, it got a little scary here last night.
Breaking ball for a ball, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Tell you what was thrown on the field. Baseballs, golf balls, a lot of coins, and the most frightening thing was a portable radio that landed about 10 feet from Tim Teufel, the on-deck circle. Frightening.
And Teufel goes after a pitch out of the strike zone, 1-2. Shades of Shea Stadium in 1973 when Pete Rose got in a fight with Bud Harrelson at second base, then went out to left field and he was showered.
Tom Seaver, Willie Mays went out to appeal to the crowd.
That was a playoff between the Reds and Mets in 1973. 2-2. So crowds are crowds no matter what city they're in. When they get riled, it gets scary. Here's Marge Schott, principal owner of the Cincinnati Reds. And again, count goes to 3-2 as Teufel takes that one with runners at second and third. Behind Teufel, Keith Hernandez, a left-hand batter. field. Daniels is there, and Cal camps under it. That'll end the inning. The Mets leave 2 in scoring position on a walk and a base hit, and the score at the end of 1.5 innings. The Mets 1, the Reds nothing. Now here's a word from the good olds guy. What a great pitcher on the mound, Dwight Gooden, and the man who caught 2 of the greatest, Bob Gibson and Steve Carlton. Coming in for the play-by-play, Tim McCarver.
Thanks, Ralph, and mighty proud I did, too. 2 Hall of Famers, one is in, one's going in. And Cal Daniels leads it off here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Cal with 16 walks has contributed in other ways, but has really been struggling lately, as chronicled by Ralph earlier, and he takes a fastball high.
He's 2 for 31 after a fantastic start.
Yeah, he was 11 for 18 that first week of the season. There's a strike, 1-1 to Calvosky Daniels.
He's 1 for 2 against Doc Gooden with 1 home run.
Here he is in a free fall, and he's still 8th in the league in on-base percentage. Curve ball and a beauty. First curve of the day thrown by Gooden. 1-2 to Daniels. 1-0. Mets on top, bottom of the 2nd. Just misses inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Daniels. Here's Eric Davis, who was robbed of a double at least by Tim Teufel to end the 1st inning. Tell you, sometimes television gives you the presence of baseball being a cosmetic game until it zeroes in on the faces of the players, huh? And you see the tension and the intensity.
Not only do you take yourself out to that plate and have the danger of being hurt, you have to do so many things in such a short time.
3-2 to Daniels.
You have 2/5 of a second to pick up the baseball and decide whether or not it's going to hit you, and whether or not it's a ball or a strike, whether you want to swing at it or not swing at it. Is it the pitch you're looking for? All those things in such a short time.
Curveball gets Daniels. First strikeout for Gooden. And Cal going back to the dugout saying, well, if he could throw me a 3-2 curveball that breaks like that, well, you know, I'm out, period. And he was.
It's all over when you have this kind of ability to get a 3-2 curve over. You know, Nolan Ryan said the strikeout is the gauge of talent, but it's not the gauge of success. And I guess Nolan Ryan has the right to say that. More strikeouts than anybody alive.
Pretty successful, too. This one back into our booth, right against our monitor, and Ralph Kiner not budging. You took too much for granted then.
I got a ricochet there, and I'm not going to do that again.
I'll guarantee you. Jeff, you were mighty cool up here, too. What's going on?
That ball hit right over there about 5 yards away.
And I was gone. I was gone. You took for granted that it was just going to miss the partition. You got to watch those caroms,
You just can't get complacent. That's all there is to it.
Man. 0-2 to Nick Osaski. Misses inside. Nick, a good low ball hitter, and boy, does he have lift. He has hit some tremendous home runs. Only the 4th player to lift one of the Lowe's section, Dodger Stadium, and again the curveball gets Osaski.
Osaski has been up 4 times in his major league career against Dwight Gooden. He has been struck out all 4 times, and there was a good reason for it this time, because this is another one of those yellow hammers, boy.
Ooh. So the fish are biting, and so are the curveballs. Here's Paul O'Neill. This curveball hangs high. 1-0 to Paul. Paul betting .266 on the year. Had a couple of knocks in last night's game. Surprise start against the left-hander Bobby Ojeda. Goes after a bad ball. 1-1 to Paul O'Neill. Tracy Jones, the right fielder who would normally start against left-handed pitching, sent to the hospital to have his right finger x-rayed, and he ends up in the middle of the fight last night. Matter of fact, he got off a swing, but it was blocked and kind of nudged Darryl Strawberry in the neck. No damage done. Well, that's not fair right there. 2-2 to O'Neill.
Another one of the great strikeout pitchers was Bob Feller. And he had a great curve.
And there it is again. So Gooden features 3 curveballs to strike out 3 in a row. It's 1-0 New York after 2 innings of play. And we're back after this from Pan American Airlines. Keith Hernandez takes ball 1 from Dennis Rasmussen. The Mets on top, 1-0. And that's the reason. Tuffle doubled and Keith doubled back in the first inning. Strike 1, 1-1. Rasmussen and his young catcher Terry McGriff having a tough time getting together here. Now they're ready. Outside. 2 balls and a strike. By the way, fans, you're watching Mets Baseball 88 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Tim McCarver along with Ralph Kiner and Steve Zabriskie. Happy you've decided to spend your afternoon with us. We're watching a red-hot club. The Mets have won 6 of 7 on this trip. And they're 12-3 over their last 15 games. Half a game behind those Pittsburgh Pirates, playing terrific baseball. Davey Johnson, rather comfortable these days. This one hit well to right field, but playable, and O'Neill makes the play right at the edge of the warning track. So Keith flies deep to O'Neill and the batter Darryl Strawberry, who popped to third his first time up. Probably more of a reaction to Strawberry today than to home plate umpire Dave Pallone. Darryl being ejected in last night's game, along with pitcher Tom Browning, who was out of the game anyway. Curveball is low. 1-0 to Darryl Strawberry. Fly ball deep to left center. Daniels over, Davis over, and it's Daniels at the edge of the warning track. Strawberry didn't even appear to get that ball and sent Daniels to the warning track. 2 outs.
Well, this is an uppercut swing, and when you do that, you put backspin on the ball, and it carries the ball 30 to 40 feet farther than if you hit it square. So a long out for Darryl Strawberry, who had his 6th home run, and he now has 153 in his major league career. That was yesterday. He picked up that 6th.
Kevin McReynolds on an error, and he stole second, and the curveball is high. Fastball for a strike, 1-1. Rasmussen very happy that his wife Sharon and his 3 children coming in town tomorrow. Has twin daughters, a year and a half old. Wanted me to say hello to Sharon, who's watching in Omaha today. Breaking ball for a strike, 1-2. Matter of fact, Dennis went to Creighton University, and there was another guy who pitched in the major leagues that went to Creighton. Not a bad pitcher. Bob Gibson. Curveball gets McReynolds. So a strong inning for Rasmussen, his first strikeout. The Mets go in order, and after 2.5 lead, 1-0, and we're back after this from Chrysler.
Mets ticket office.
Jeff Treadway leads it off here in the 3rd inning. Line to left, first base runner for the Reds. Jeff Treadway from Columbus, Georgia, batting .217 before that hit. It's the first hit off Gooden. It's 1-0 New York, and we'll see how Terry McGriff does against the Doctor. Terry from Fort Pierce, Florida, right above the training site, just north of Port St. Lucie. Mets' first year in that lovely complex this year. Fouled away, 0-1.
Terry, a hot batter. He's had 5 hits in his last 8 at-bats. This is his first appearance against the Mets in this series.
Terry, only 24 years old. Made his debut last year, July the 11th. And on September 15th in Atlanta, his first grand slam off Marty Clary of the Braves. Swing and a miss. Red's very impressed with young Terry McGriff. Had 10 home runs at Nashville last year. He's got an outstanding throwing arm. 1-2 to Terry. Make that 0-2. 1-0 New York. Outside, ball 1. "37 times in that young man's illustrious career has he gone to double figures in strikeouts, and he has 3 this afternoon. He struck out the side in the second. So you have one Floridian facing another one. Dwight from Tampa, and as we said, McGriff from Fort Pierce. Was close to a balk on the step and not on the stop.
Dwight has balked 2 times out of the 14 balks the Mets have had this year.
Fastball misses. So it's 2 balls, 2 strikes to Terry McGriff. The on-deck batter is Dennis Rasmussen. Mets with an RBI double by Keith Hernandez lead it here in the 3rd inning with 1 on, none out. 1-0. Curveball, and McGriff does a good job of staying alive. Boy, that was a nasty yacker.
McGriff had to let go with his top hand to get enough extension to get a piece of this. And that was a perfect curveball low and outside, so he fouls it off and stays alive.
The quicker the break for Gooden, usually the tighter the spin. Lined, and Elster, the throw, not in time. Boy, alertly, Treadway diving back. A good play by Elster. That ball hit on the nose. 1 out.
The 2 balls hit hard in this inning have been off of fastballs. This ball ripped right at Elster. He gets it away in a hurry to first. But as Tim pointed out, Treadway, a very alert base runner, getting back.
That would really be the only excusable line drive to the left side of the infield, where if you're on first, you could get doubled up. Because if the ball's through there, it goes to left center. So you're thinking third. A line drive to the third baseman. There's no sense in thinking third because you're just going to second anyway. Rasmussen to bunt. It's a ball and no strikes to Rasmussen, and Hernandez telling Gooden one of 3 things: to throw to first, that he'll take 1 step toward the plate and come back and throw to first, or to count 1001 and I'll go home. And he's coming home. Fastball for a strike. 1-1. Now Hernandez again. Back to the mound. Keith talking to Gooden once again.
Keith, one of the best in the game to ever charge on a bunt.
See, he went forward, then coming back. He learned that from Ron Fairley, who is now the announcer for the San Francisco Giants.
When that first baseman charges so quickly, you can take off at first.
And Treadway takes off. On cue, Mr. K.
That's the one danger that you have when you charge that quickly. As soon as that first baseman takes off and you know he's going in, then you can come off. But you got to be careful about the second baseman who's coming over to cover at first. Right here, Keith leaves, and so does the base runner, Treadway.
So Treadway makes headway back to first now. And it's 1-2 to Dennis Rasmussen. Gets Rasmussen. Strikeout number 4 for Gooden. All on curveballs. 2 outs.
Well, it's no easy task to try to sacrifice against Gooden. If there's an easy pitch, it would be the curveball. But here, Rasmussen, with the count of 2 strikes, was not bunting. So the curveball freezes him, and Gooden picks up his 4th strikeout.
Barry Larkin, the batter. He grounded to third his first at bat.
Reds had 6 stolen bases in the first game of this series and had another in yesterday's game.
Treadway not running, and the fastball is outside to Larkin, 1-0. Curveball, good play by Lyons. 2 balls, no strikes to Barry Larkin. 1-0 New York. We're in the bottom of the 3rd with 2 outs and Jeff Treadway at first base. Mets trying to sweep the Reds. Saying he might have Lee May try to do what Bill Robinson did last night. So far, Mo, nickname at first. What a great guy, and boy, could he hammer. Lee May. Got a little Met association, doesn't he?
His son is in the Mets organization in the minor leagues. Lee, of course, was outstanding player here with Houston, here in Cincinnati, also in Houston, also in Baltimore.
Curveball is high. The throw not in time. Treadway with his second stolen base.
Well, the Mets have 2 stolen bases in this game, and now the Reds have their first. And a good jump by Treadway. Lyons puts a good throw down there, but to no avail.
If you get the jump, you're going to steal the base.
Takes that look to see whether the ball is going to be hit, but it doesn't make any difference with 2 men out.
Right. So it's 3-2 to Larkin. Chris Sabo on deck. Tapper toward third. Tough play for Johnson. No play, and now he looks toward third. So Larkin with an infield hit. Treadway to third.
Well, this is the second hit of the inning, and Johnson wisely does not throw the ball. He had no chance for a play at first against Larkin. That puts runners at first and third with 2 men out and brings up Chris Sabo.
Those are prescription glasses. Sabo doing an imitation of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Same type of glasses. There goes Larkin, and no throw. He goes in standing up. Stolen base number 10 for Larkin, and the Reds have runners at second and third and 2 men away.
9 stolen bases by the Reds in this series.
There you get a pretty good look of Sabo and those prescription glasses that he's been wearing for about 10 years. Tapper toward third. Johnson throws him out. So the Reds threaten. They fail to score. And after 3 innings of play, it's 1-0 New York. And we're back after this from the New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages. One of the nice things about being the owner of a ball club is you get to sit next to celebrities. In the sunglasses, Dustin Hoffman. He's in town playing in the Rainmaker. And one of the nice things about being a broadcaster is you get to sit next to celebrities, too. And I'm sitting next to one right now. Here's Steve Zabriskie.
Thanks a lot, Timmy. Same could be said for me, that's for sure.
Well, that's what I was leading to. That's something, though. Dustin Hoffman's in the stands today. Boy, what a great actor.
And what a great day. It's the best day we've had all season so far. Weather-wise, Howard Johnson robbed of a base hit on a good play by Larkin in the first. Takes high and away. Ball 2, 2-0. Mets leading 1-0 as we start the 4th inning. New York with 3 base hits. And Cincinnati with 2. They just got those 2 in the bottom half of the 3rd. A breaking ball popped up short right center field. Jeff Treadway calling for it. 1 away. Today's game is being brought to you in part by the Good Olds guys, your New York, New Jersey, and Southern Connecticut Oldsmobile dealers, and by Delta Airlines. We love to fly, and it shows, to more than 150 cities worldwide. 1 out and nobody on for Barry Lyons, who grounded to short in the 2nd inning. Ball 1. Barry making his first start of the year. He had 30 last year, spelling Gary Carter. A breaking ball fouled out of play behind the Reds dugout, and the count 1-1. Barry will be the designated daytime player because most of the time when Carter has a day off, it will be a day game.
DDP.
A lot better than the DH.
Got that right. A lot of other things better than the DH. Even have a nice day is better than the DH. Name tags are better than the DH.
Boy, I know now you really hate the DH.
Now you know how I feel about the DH.
I don't like it either. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Lyons.
Cincinnati a little down on their name tags, by the way, this year. Of course, it's early. Give them a shot. Give them a chance.
Wait till school's out and it's summertime. We'll see more name tags than you want. Barry goes after a high pitch and misses it. 2nd strikeout for Rasmussen, and the 2nd out here in the 4th inning. Well,
Randy.
He's had that book for 3 days in the dugout.
I asked him what it was the other day, said Sports Illustrated. Said Steve and I were talking on the air. We thought it might be Popular Mechanics.
Very little hope. Kevin Elster singled to left and stole a base in the 2nd, and there's that big slow curveball for ball 1. Kevin has been hot. He comes into the game having hit .458 over his last 8, and he's 1 for 1 so far today. Another one of those big breaking balls. 2-0. Dennis has thrown a lot of those so far today, but he hasn't gotten many of them over. Down low, 3-0.
Let him leave his feet one time, huh? 3-0. Pitcher up next.
Go for it. There's the doctor on deck.
See if Davey puts a green light on for Kevin.
Never know. Although he did have a hitting posture about
Yeah, he did.
It's 4 straight balls and a 2-out walk to Elster. 2nd walk issued by Rasmussen. And that'll bring up the doc. Gooden hit a ball very sharply, a one-hopper right at Jeff Treadway, who threw him out in the second inning.
Kind of a useless throw to first because Elster's doubtful that he's running. If he makes an out by being thrown out at second, then Gooden has to lead off the fifth.
And Gooden hits a fly ball into short left field. Cal Daniels, fighting the sun, makes the catch, and the inning is over. A walk and one left here in the fourth inning for New York, and in the middle of the fourth, it's still 1-0 Mets. We're back after this for the good old Sky.
A future major league double play combination right there. By the way, the Twins are in Boston today, aren't they? It's raining up at Fenway. By the way, speaking of scores in other leagues and other games, the National League, let's take a look at it. 5-2. The Atlanta Braves over the Phillies at the Vet, bottom of the fifth. No score, Montreal at Houston, Pittsburgh at San Diego later, Chicago at San Francisco, and St. Louis at Los Angeles. Well, they got the game started up in Boston, 2-0 Minnesota in the seventh, 1-1 Texas at New York at the stadium in the fifth, 2-1 Cleveland over Oakland in the sixth, and 2-1 Seattle over Detroit. No, I beg your pardon, 5-0 Blue Jays over the Angels in the fifth. No score, Baltimore at Chicago. And what was that other game? I was reading too quickly. Kansas City at Milwaukee, no score in the third. All right.
Now you're up to date.
Yeah, in Kansas City.
Or in Cincinnati. Eric Davis leading it off. Took a ball high, and now pounds one right back to Gooden, who throws him out, one away. And Davis now has had 5 hits in his last 44 at-bats. He was going down like a rock. One out in the fourth.
You know, Steve, a lot to do with the team's early start is how the obviously how the team's playing when they play against them. And if you catch teams at the right time when they're going badly, that could be really the difference at the end of the season. Some teams just happen to be playing teams when they're going well.
Timing is everything.
Yeah, it really is.
Cal Daniels takes a curveball for strike one. Daniels looked at a call, third strike in the second.
Certainly that was one of the reasons for the Cleveland Indians' fast start. They played the Baltimore Orioles 7 games in a row. The Orioles obviously 1-22 now. But what about the teams that play Baltimore, say, come July? Baltimore certainly couldn't be doing any worse than they are now.
One would hope not. Actually, the schedule's almost like rolling the dice. You never know.
You don't know. That's true. The Mets fortunate not to be playing the Pirates now. But on the other hand, Pirates fortunate not to be playing the Mets.
That's right. And here are the Mets playing the Reds with both Davis and Daniels mired in slumps. And of course, they're the heart of the lineup. Daniels has won for his last 27. That was after his great first week. And a weak ground ball to second. Different kind of week. And a different kind of couple of weeks for Cal. 2 out here in the fourth. Nick Esaski, a strikeout victim in the second. And the doctor struck out the side. White has struck out 4. Curveball is low, ball 1. Esaski has come on. He's hit .375 the last 14 games with 13 RBIs. Another curveball. This one's in there, and it's 1-1. Fastball right in there, too. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two out and nobody on. 2-2. The fastball fouled off the other way. Not exactly a rare sight when the doctor's on the mound. And he appears to have it pretty well together today.
Especially that curveball. Of the 4 strikeouts, all were curveballs.
And 3 of them called third strikes. Another fastball fouled away. Still 2-2.
As a hitter, you have to honor the curveball. So that's why when you protect the plate against the fastball coming in at 93 or 4 miles an hour, very, very difficult to pull.
And there is a curveball for strike 3. Second time in a row, Gooden has struck out a Sasky looking on a breaking ball. He has struck out 5 through the first 4 innings. And at the end of 4, it's still New York 1, Cincinnati nothing. We're back after this for Budweiser. Well, when I was young, one of my favorite songs was On the Wings of a Snow White Dove.
Ann Murray, 65.
We have a semi-Snow White Dove in our booth.
Oh, no, that was Furlan Husky.
Furlan Husky.
I'm thinking of Snowbird.
That's right.
Right? We have a dove of love in our booth.
A nest built on the light here. Mookie Wilson leading off the 5th inning for New York with the Mets leading 1-0. And Mookie swings and misses to make the count 1-1. Mookie has flied to center and walked. 0 for 1. A fastball in there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mookie working on a 9-game hitting streak, over which he's hit .294 starting play today. Just holds up on that breaking ball. 2-2.
Far from Trees by Joyce Kilmer, who may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair.
No trees in the ballpark, so the Dove using the next best thing. Line drive to center field, and Davis might have had a play on the ball, chose not to charge it. Plays it on 1 hop, and so Mookie extends his hitting streak to 10 games. And he's aboard to lead off the 5th inning.
Davis came in a couple of steps. Mookie didn't hit this ball hard. Does have a little hang time, and that's what Steve was talking about. Had Eric charged that ball, he may have had a shot.
Of course, with Mookie's speed, if he charges it and misses it, it might be a run, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Tim Teufel has doubled and scored in 2 trips. And the breaking ball was low and away, ball 1. Teufel now in this series has had 4 hits and 9 at-bats.
Speaking of Joyce Kilmer, there is a service area on the New Jersey Turnpike from Philadelphia to New York named the Joyce Kilmer Truck Stop, or service area. And there aren't any trees there. I can't figure that out. I mean,
somehow I knew that was going to be the case. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
You know, what's going on? When you honor Joyce Kilmer with no trees?
Well hit to left field by Teufel. Daniels going back. Home run. Tim Teufel. A 2-run shot, and the Mets lead 3-0.
3-0. That ball was roped. Tim Teufel continues his onslaught against the Cincinnati Reds. He's 5 for 9 this year. He did 5 for 10. Going into last night's game, he was 9 for 17 lifetime against Tom Browning. He just buggy whips the Reds. Fastball, and again, the fat part of the plate. Boy, did you see that head right down?
Arms extended and eye right on the pitch.
Man.
Long gone. Teufel's first home run of the year. He now has 7 RBIs. And it is his 5th hit in this series as Keith Hernandez takes the ball. Pat Perry starting to throw in the Cincinnati bullpen. Hernandez 1 for 2, had an RBI double to score Teufel back in the 1st. Breaking ball is high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Keith's driven in 12 runs in the last 5 games. Just outside. 2-1. Inside, 3-1. Hernandez broke out of his slump with those 7 RBIs in Atlanta, and he's kept it going ever since, picking up an RBI already today. He'll be out of play, and the count full at 3-2.
Gives him 12 RBIs in the last 5 ball games.
He has a total of 16. So, come late but often. A home run by Tuffle, incidentally, the Mets' 30th of the year. This is, of course, their 22nd game. They've also hit 11 in the last 9 games. And Hernandez hits it well to center field. Davis going back, looking up. Home run, Keith Hernandez. Tuffle and Hernandez with back-to-back home runs, and the Mets lead 4-0.
Hernandez just on fire. That low 5 with Darryl Strawberry, because nobody's tall enough to give him a high 5.
Got to take a kitchen stepladder out there.
Keith told me last year that the most indicative thing about the ball being wrapped tighter was his home runs to center field. He had 5 home runs to center field, 3 to straightaway center last year, and 2 to left center. And he said when he can hit balls like that far straight away, then the ball's got to be juiced up or wrapped tighter or whatever it might be. And here he is hitting one of the, I mean, he got all of that ball. He crushed that ball.
Well, Scott Breeden going out to talk to Dennis Rasmussen, and again, Pat Perry continues to throw in the bullpen. Rasmussen, who had given up 2 homers in his previous 26 innings of work, has now been tagged for 2 homers here in the 5th inning. And the Mets have gone from leading 1-0 to a 4-0 lead, and Pat Perry's coming into the game. So still nobody out here in the 5th inning, and the Mets leading 4-0. We'll take a break and be right back after this word from Exxon.
Pat Perry in for Dennis Rasmussen. He's 2-2, his 11th game of the year.
And he's facing Darryl Strawberry, who takes one high and tight for ball 1.
Pat coming over last August 31st for Scott Terry. He came over from the St. Louis Cardinals.
Strike at the knees, 1-1 to Darryl. Strawberry 0 for 2 has popped out in foul territory to the third baseman Chris Sabo. Fly very deep. The left fielder Daniels in left center field. Darryl hits it a ton. Fair or foul? Home run. 3 home runs in a row.
Oh.
Another monster shot off the bat of Darryl Strawberry, and the Mets now lead 5-0.
It hit the facade in the upper deck. There's only one player that I know of that has hit one in the upper deck here. I'm sure there have been others, but offhand, one player, George Foster, he hit a 3-2 slider off Steve Carlton. I called it. That's why I remembered it. I mean, that was awesome.
Kevin McReynolds taking a strike. McReynolds 0 for 2, reached on an error and struck out looking. Foul back at us. Look out. Good play, Jeff. Boy, our AD, Jeff, reached out and saved Tim McCarver's life.
That's exactly right. Because I was gone. That ball would have hit me right in the back.
Super job. Here comes another one. No, that's above us.
What happens? Our Dove friend just sits up there. Does nothing to protect us.
Here we are harboring this dove, giving it a home.
Protecting it from foul balls, at least Jeff is.
Well hit to right center field. Davis going back deep. What a catch. Eric Davis with a leaping grab to take an extra base hit away from Kevin McReynolds. The first out here in the inning, and another ball that was tagged.
Balls are just shooting out of this place. Eric Davis robbed Jack Clark last year twice of home runs by leaping over the fence. He robbed 2 other players of home runs leaping over the fence, and the Gold Glover shows you once again why he's that. Great play by Davis.
1 out, and here's Howard Johnson, who's 0 for 2. Breaking ball for strike 1. Hojo's grounded out and popped out. Reaches out and punches a breaking ball into short left. Daniels can't get there, and neither can Barry Larkin. And now Hojo goes to second as the ball bounces away. We'll see if they give Johnson a double or whether it'll be a base hit and an error. Reds have already committed. It is a 2-base hit.
I think that's the right call, and you can credit Howard Johnson with really taking advantage of the artificial surface. Look how high that ball bounces, and by the time Daniels has a chance to recover, he tries to throw it too quickly, and Johnson's already in there. Good base running by Howard Johnson.
5 hits in the inning, 3 home runs, a single and a double. And here's Barry Lyons, who has grounded to short and struck out. Johnson at second with 1 out. Mets leading 5-0. Ball 1. Jay Horwitz informs us that the last time the Mets had 3 homers in a row was July 27th of '86 at Atlanta, when Strawberry, Carter, and Kevin Mitchell all hit home runs. Back to back to back. Perry stepping off. Incidentally, Strawberry's home run, which stunned everybody here, ties him for the all-time Mets club record. 154 career homers to tie Dave Kingman.
Boy, he did it in grand fashion, too. Just a matter of whether the ball was fair or foul. It was about, I guess, 5 or 6 feet fair. Hitting the facade in the upper deck. Awesome.
Lyons takes a breaking ball on a 2-0 count. It's 2 balls, 1 strike.
The facade, the row of concrete that is in the top of your picture, well, actually 1 down, and that's where the ball hit. A little white dot there. Awesome.
Changeup by Perry is missed, and the count 2-2. Darryl.
Of his 7 home runs, he has 4 against left-handed pitching. 4 different left-handed pitchers.
Lyons chases one in the dirt, strikes out, and there are 2 out here in the 5th inning as Johnson remains at second.
Perry with that little turnover changeup. It's really a screwball. Good play by McGriff coming up with that ball, and Barry's out on the bad swing. Or bad ball.
Now they're going to walk Kevin Elster intentionally with Gooden on deck to put runners at first and second with 2 out. Elster has singled and walked, and he's been red hot. And here's the doctor who will hit with the bases loaded. A balk is called.
I'll tell you, of all the goofy balks this year, this is the most ridiculous.
Put this in the archives. This is unbelievable.
Oh, that's unbelievable. I mean, really, when is common sense going to enter into this thing? This is ridiculous. You mean to tell me you're going to balk a guy to third? I mean, where is the intent there? Where is the intent?
And the rule says that it is there to keep the pitcher from intentionally deceiving the runner.
Oh, that's
as if Howard Johnson is going to try to steal third, and as if Pat Perry's trying to be deceptive in an intentional walk to Kevin Elster. Now the balk partially defeats the reason why they walked Elster intentionally to begin with. Now the Mets have runners at first and third. That is the second balk of the game. Dennis Rasmussen was called for one in the second inning. Dave Pallone amid the controversy yet again.
Pete in the dugout yelling at John Kibler at first base, and you can really understand that. That's just ludicrous.
Gooden takes the fastball high and away for ball one. Now, if you were with us for the pregame, you know Pete's view of the incident at first base last night. Again, a tie to Gooden, ball two. The umpires will maintain that they do not affect the outcome of the game. Well, it's just not right. It's not true. They do affect the outcome of games on occasion. A fastball for strike one, two.
They're saying balks don't affect the outcome of the game?
They're saying that their decisions don't always affect the outcome of the game. Well, that play at first base last night definitely affected, and that was Pete's point. He felt his team didn't have a chance. Gooden fouls it off. 2-2 the count.
I think the replay on that play, and not to beat it to death, went over thoroughly in the pregame, but the replay clearly showed that Pallone got the play right. He was off the bag, but the delay was the problem.
Gooden strikes out to end the inning. The Mets send 9 to the plate as they go from the top to the bottom of the batting order, and they score 4 runs with 3 homers and 5 hits here in the inning. 5-0 New York in the middle of the 5th, and we're back after this from Nissan. Buddy Bell just moving out of your picture in the Cincinnati dugout. Buddy, of course, on the DL, ready to come off and eligible to come off, but really not yet ready to play. So Chris Sabo still in there at third as Pete keeps his constant vigil, and a guy who always keeps his vigil, eagle eye over everything that happens on the field, Tim McCarty.
All right, Steve, Paul O'Neill, who struck out his first time up. And there have been 5 strikeouts recorded by Gooden, all on that pitch there. This time O'Neill makes contact. Second baseman Tim Tuffle makes the play. That's 5 in a row retired by Doc. The Reds' only base runners, 2 base hits in the 3rd inning. A single by Jeff Treadway and an infield hit by Barry Larkin. It's 5-0, New York on top. And here's Jeff Treadway. Jeff from Columbus, Georgia. Makes his home in Griffin, Georgia.
Time called because a ball got away from the Cincinnati bullpen, and the fans, who aren't exactly enthralled with Dave Pallone after last night anyway, are hollering for Pallone to call another ball.
There's a strike to Treadway. 0-1 to Jeff. Jeff really broke into the majors with a bang. He hit in 17 of his first 21 games last September. Second baseman for years here was Ron Oster, and I suppose that Ron is doing his rehab work down in Nashville now. Tapper to Gooden, easy play. 2 outs here in the 5th inning.
It was a clean, hard slide by Mookie Wilson that took Elster out of there with a broken leg.
For Oster.
Oster. I say Elster. Well, how was that for a double play combination? Elster to Oster.
You're just trying to stir things up here.
Let's mix it up for a while. But anyway,
Leo Garcia on deck. Terry McGriff the batter. Go ahead, Steve. Curveball strike.
Just that everybody thought at the time really the severity of the break would end on Oster's career, but he has really worked hard and may be back.
Another curveball. 0-2 to Terry McGriff. That happened at this stadium in the 9th inning of a game last year. Grounded sharply to shortstop. Elster to Hernandez. So an easy inning for Gooden. The Doc has 7 in a row recorded and a 5-0 shutout his way after 5. We're back after this from BMW. Mookie Wilson leads it off, top of the 6th with the Mets on top. 5 5-0, and immediately drills the ball in the right field corner. Paul O'Neill, the right fielder, retrieves it. And Mookie now 2 for 3 on the afternoon. What a BB that was. The Mets with their hitting shoes on again this afternoon.
Mookie Wilson just motoring as only Mookie can. Not that there aren't guys who might run faster, but none are more beautiful to watch going around the bases. And I got a kick out of Sam Perlazzo. Sammy starts putting on the brakes for Mookie as Mookie rounds first, because he doesn't have much time from the time Mookie's at first till he gets to second. So Sam had to start stopping him at the time Mookie hit first base.
Kind of like brakes on a slick road, huh?
Takes a while.
Yeah. Ball 1 to Teufel. Timmy Double scored a run on an RBI double by Hernandez in the first and hit a 2-run homer in the 5th. He's 2 for 3, 2 runs scored, and 2 RBIs. Outside, 2-0. Pat Perry in relief of Dennis Rasmussen. It's 5-0 New York. To Teufel. Fans, you're watching Mets Baseball 88 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. There goes Mookie, and Teufel fouls it back. 2-2 to Tim. Secaucus, by the way, right down the turnpike from the Joyce Kilmer service area.
But in Secaucus, they have trees.
That's correct. Got to do something about the Joyce Kilmer service area and get some trees in there.
No, let's change the name of Secaucus to Joyce Kilmer, New Jersey, and change the name of the service plaza to Secaucus Service Plaza. Because they have trees in Secaucus.
Lined up the middle. Nice play. Larkin, the throw not in time. Hit like a bullet off the glove of Perry, and a double dribble, too many steps by Larkin. Infield hit Teufel. First and third, nobody out.
They're giving Larkin an error on the play.
Oh, really?
And it's a tough error because the ball is misdirected or redirected by the glove of the pitcher, Pat Perry. Now, Larkin really could have come up with the ball, and in dribbling it, it did allow Teufel to beat it out. Here it is again. If Larkin comes up with it right there cleanly, he probably throws out Teufel fairly easily, but it bounced a couple of times, and by the time he recovered, Teufel just was able to beat it out. So it's an error in the second of the ball game.
It's really a hard play for Barry Larkin because of all the misdirection, the spin of the ball, trying to catch it cleanly.
Tough error.
Yep, they may change that one. Anyway, Hernandez 2 for 3, a home run and a double. The Mets with 3 straight homers by Teufel, Hernandez, and Strawberry. This one hit deep to center. Davis is there. Wilson tagging, and Mookie walks home. And for Hernandez, that is the 14th RBI in the last 5 ball games. 6-0 New York.
Keith with 3 RBIs in this game, as he has produced half of the Mets runs, and again right on it. Keith was telling me Friday that he's gone back to his old stance. Now, what exactly that means would take some time to describe because Keith has a few stances, but in essence it has to do with his front shoulder.
Right. Talked to him well the last couple of days about it as Strawberry takes ball 1. Darrell with that tremendous shot his last at bat. He's 1 for 3. Davis, that ball actually off the fist of Strawberry. He hit that ball off the trademark.
That hit about 350 feet off the trademark on a line to center field.
Almost all. It's a very interesting thing about Keith, who is a real thinking man's hitter. Left-hander Pat Perry. All left-handers will tell you that, for the most part, all left-handers will tell you that left-handed pitchers give them more trouble than right-handed pitchers. But they'll also tell you that they're better hitters against left-handers because those that play every day have to be better hitters against left-handers. And the main point about hitting against left-handed pitchers, if you're a left-handed hitter, is the front shoulder. That's the key. You've got to keep it in there. You can make mistakes with it against a right-handed pitcher and get away with it sometimes. Not against a lefty. You're dead on the outside.
And you speak from experience, having been a left-handed hitter.
1-1 to McReynolds. Kevin 0 for 3. He was on an error and a stolen base in the first inning. So the point, Keith, I think one of the points he's trying to make is that facing those left-handers in Atlanta and all of the left-handers that he's faced so far this year, even though his average has been sinking, it really made him a better hitter. And he's getting started earlier this year. Tuffle back in time on the throw. 3-1 to McReynolds. He usually has a bad April, but he hasn't seen as many left-handed pitchers as he's seen this April. Consequently, he's had to adjust earlier, and he's a better hitter earlier than he would have been in past years.
And what he's hoping he will do by having gone through this is avoid what seems to be for Keith the annual June-July swoon. And Keith always throughout his career has had a slump in the middle of the season. Maybe, he says, because I've started the way I have, I will be able to avoid that.
Inside, and McReynolds walks. Tuffle moves to second, and with 2 on, 2 out, batter Howard Johnson. That's why if a left-handed pitcher, there's always the beauty of baseball is there's something to combat what somebody else is doing all the time. And if you're a left-handed pitcher with a tailing fastball, generally speaking, you'll see them trying to work left-handed hitters in. And the better the left-handed hitter, the better they can work them in because of the front shoulder. You can't do everything with the bat. Ball and no strikes to Johnson. Went back. Did he catch it? No call has been made yet. Daniels is on the ground, and I don't know whether the ball's in his glove or not.
He hit the wall hard. We still can't tell whether he made the catch or not.
I'm not even sure if Daniels knows. Eric Gregg is out there. He's got to check his glove. And that appears to be a home run. It is a home run for Howard Johnson, home run number 4 on the year, and the Mets lead it 9-0, and Cal Daniels is hurt. It couldn't have cleared his glove by more than a couple of inches. I thought he may have caught the ball.
I did too. Now watch Daniels. He goes up, he times the leap perfectly. Now you can see that the ball probably went off the end of his glove. And the contact with the wall, it may have even tipped the webbing of his glove as it went over the fence, and the contact with the wall maybe even coupled with the contact of that hard artificial warning track as Cal Daniels down. Here it is again. He's way up there. The ball right off the end of his glove. He smashes his shoulder. Now he comes down hard and may have hurt his back as he landed on the warning track, and the trainer is out there, and he's still on the ground yet.
You know, in that game that we were talking about, Steve, pardon me, about Ron Oster last year, Daniels, who appears to be knocked out a little bit, or how can he be knocked out a little bit? Well, he could be knocked out momentarily. Appears to be okay, but he hurt his knee last year in the same game that Oster hurt his knee. Well, it's a 9-0 Met lead here in the 6th inning with 2 outs, and let's go to MetLife and see what they have to say as Cincinnati makes a pitching change. Double switch in that Lloyd McClendon is in catching. He'll bat 9th, and the pitcher Frank Williams batting 8th, but also Leo Garcia is in at left field because of what happened to Cal Daniels on this play.
Howard Johnson hits a home run, but nobody in the ballpark, well, I'm sure there's some people in left field who knew it. Cal Daniels knew it, although he became unaware of almost everything here as he goes up, the ball just over the end of his glove. A fine effort by Daniels, but the contact with the wall, and then he came down hard on the warning track and consequently was shaken up enough to where he has had to leave the ball game. And as if things weren't going badly enough for Daniels and the Reds, one of their key guys may be injured to where he may not even be able to play for a couple of days. And here's Frank Williams, the third pitcher for Cincinnati, a record of 0-0. There's McClendon in to catch for him. Williams is making his 11th appearance.
And he'll bat 8th with McClendon batting 9th, and Leo Garcia will bat 4th. And a slider. There's Leo. And a slider to Barry Lyons was a strike. It's 9-0 New York behind their barrage of homers. They've hit 4 in this game. Little looper towards second, and Treadway makes the play. The Mets score 4 more runs. They have scored 8 in 2 innings, and they lead middle of the 6th, 9-0, and we're back after this from Manufacturers Hanover. Well, the Mets have taken this opportunity to make some changes. Dave Magadan moves into first base, giving Keith Hernandez a rest. Mookie Wilson moves from center field to right field. Len Dykstra now in center. Darryl Strawberry out of there. And Dwight Gooden rolling along, a 9-0 lead. He's given up only 2 hits. He has struck out 5. Bottom of the 6th inning, and Lloyd McClendon leads it off. Lloyd entering the game for Terry McGriff. Last night's game filled with controversy, and one on a tag play Gary Carter made on Lloyd McClendon. In the 3rd inning, on a double hit by Tom Browning, McClendon crashing into Gary Carter. That's another reason Gary being given the off day today. This guy is a big guy, like 2 trains colliding. McClendon was out. 2 balls and a strike to Lloyd McClendon. Back 2-2 to Lloyd. Doc in full command. All of his 5 strikeouts have been on curveballs. With that in mind, we'll see how he works McClendon. Curveball misses inside. 3-2. That's the first walk issued by Gooden this afternoon. And that'll bring up the leadoff batter, Barry Larkin. Harder for a pitcher, especially of Gooden's stature, to keep his concentration with this big a lead. Walks have not been a big problem for the doctor. He's worked 40 innings and now walked 10 so far this year. Larkin, one of the 2 hits that the Reds have, the other a single to left by Jeff Treadway. Fly ball right field. Mookie Wilson in. 1 away. You know, you're talking about concentration, and when any pitcher has a big lead and you're past the middle part of the ball game, all they want him to do is go out there and throw strikes. Well, that's all Doc's been doing, is throwing strikes. Now he goes out with the big lead and all of a sudden has a problem throwing strikes. Chris Sabo, the batter, a pitcher who was like that as much as anybody that I saw was Larry Jackson with the Cardinals, Chicago Cubs, Philadelphia Phillies. Outstanding pitcher and competitor. Ran for the governor of Idaho. Is that right? About a decade ago. No balls, 1 strike to Sabo, Chris Sabo. Tapper to third, could be 2. Johnson, Tuffle, back to Magadan for the double play. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left after 6. Ralph will join Stevie after this word from Budweiser.
9-0 New York as we go to the top half of the 7th inning. The Mets and the doctor in complete command here as the Mets have hit 4 homers in the ball game. Whether or not Gooden will continue to pitch remains to be seen, as Jeff Ennis has started warming up in the New York bullpen. There's Jeff, and Gooden is scheduled up second in the inning. So whether or not Gooden's day is done remains to be seen, but a guy whose day is not done is back in with us now as we start the 7th. Ralph Kiner.
Okay, Steve, and the Reds pitchers had given up only 3 home runs in their last 13 games until this game, and then the shoe hit the floor. First pitch to Kevin Elster by Frank Williams is out of the strike zone for ball 1. Elster has been on all 3 times he has been up. A single and 2 walks. One of the walks intentional, and when he was batting on the intentional walk, a balk was called, and I've never seen that before.
That, to me, Ralph, and Jimmy and I touched on it, epitomizes the ludicrous situation that has come to pass from this overemphasis of the balk rule.
Well, there is a word called intent, and the intent was not to deceive any base runners when you're walking the batter on purpose. And that pitch, a ball in the count, 3 balls, no strikes. John Kibler's crew, and John Kibler's crew has called more balks than any crew in the National League. And Williams misses again, so Elster has been on all 4 times he has been up.
That's the first walk that Williams has issued, but the 5th walk in the ball game given up by Cincinnati pitching.
Williams, with a record of no wins, no losses, and no saves, appeared in this series earlier. This is his 12th ball game. He's worked 12 1/3 innings and now pitching to Dwight Gooden. Mets leading by a score of 9-0, so Gooden will not be bunting, and he takes the first pitch for ball 1. Gooden 0 for 3. Hit the ball hard his first time up when he grounded out to the second baseman.
And I'll guarantee you that the doctor would love nothing more than to get in on the home run derby today.
Had a good swing in the 4th inning. Hit a high fly ball to deep left. Just did get underneath it. That's 9 runs on 10 hits. And the breaking ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. Sammy Palazzo, the third base coach, nothing to give here except the hit sign. This one up the middle and a base hit for Gooden, so Dwight continues his hitting streak. Elster hustles over to third. Good base running there, and the Mets have runners at first and third with no one out.
Well, Dwight has hit the ball hard now, 3 of his 4 times up. Finally comes up with a base hit. He started the game hitting .250 on the year and already has 4 RBIs. And this is his 5th start, or I should say his 6th start.
Working on his 6th victory, and runners now at first and third with Mookie Wilson, the batter. Mookie 2 for 3 with a walk in this game. Now has hit in 10 consecutive ball games with 12 hits and 37 at bats. And the fastball for a ball. Williams last year in 85 games had a record of 4 wins, no losses, and 2 saves. He was in the 3rd most games in the National League as a pitcher. Two balls, 1 strike. Runners at third and first. Or first and third, as you see it on your screen. And this
baseman bounce up the middle. Should be an easy double play, and it is as a run scores. Mookie hitting into his third double play already this year.
Well, about one of the few ways you're going to get Mookie on a double play is that if it is one like this, a 6-3, where the shortstop, in this case Barry Larkin, can get the ball near the bag and quickly get it over to first. Mookie is difficult to double up under any other circumstances, and they get Mookie by a step. No RBI for Wilson, and it's now 10-0 New York.
Reds had not lost more than 2 in a row this year until yesterday when they lost their 3rd straight, now working on their 4th. That'll bring up Tim Teufel. Teufel with a home run, his first of the year, also a double. 3 runs scored. 2 runs batted in the first pitch of ball. Teufel has been hitting the ball very solidly of late, showing that he is coming out of his batting slump. Sinking fastball, a strike, 1-1. Teufel now hitting .210.
The Reds would never believe that average.
And this ball hit hard to left field. Coming up, and the ball is Garcia, and Leo makes the catch to retire the side. In the inning, 1 run on 1 hit. No one left on base. The score at the end of 6.5 innings, it is the Mets 10 and the Reds nothing. Now here's a word from R.C. Cola. Well, what do you do when you're trailing by a score of 10-0? You take pictures of Marge's shot, but really not Marge.
No, Marge is sitting there with Dustin Hoffman, and during the 7th inning stretch, the photographer's taking the opportunity to jump out onto the field and snap some photographs. A little paparazzi here.
And it will be Eric Davis to lead it off for the Reds. Dwight Gooden has given up 2 hits. They both came in the 3rd. Davis is 0 for 2 against Dwight, although robbed of an extra base hit on a great play by Teufel back in the 1st. Against Gooden, he's had 4 hits and 9 at-bats in his major league career, and he takes a ball. 1-1.
To show you how Davis has been struggling, he's been up 86 times so far now, and he has struck out 29 of those times.
And a good breaking ball by Gooden, 1-2. That's projected to be over 200 strikeouts in a year, which would be the all-time record.
Currently, it does lead the major leagues as far as the ratio, the number of times having struck out.
Bobby Bonds holds the all-time strikeout record with 189. And this ball hit out to left field. Coming up in the ball, making the catch, is Lee Mazzilli. So Gooden picks up his first out here in the bottom half of the 7th. The Mets leading 10-0, and the batter will be Leo Garcia. Garcia batting for the first time, replaced Cal Daniels, who injured himself trying to make a brilliant catch on a home run drive by Howard Johnson. Garcia hitting .143, 2 for 14. And it's lined into center, but cut off by Elster as he makes a good play. Ball not hit that hard, giving Elster time to get to the line drive to make the play.
There's not much you can say about the way Kevin Elster has been playing, both offensively and defensively of late. He's just been doing it all. Kevin gets over there and snares it, even though the ball's a little bit by him. But as you said, Ralph, it really wasn't hit that hard.
Now Nick Esaski, and Nick has been up 5 times against Dwight Gooden and has struck out all 5 times in his major league career. Twice today on curveballs looking, and the first pitch a curveball for strike 1.
That would tend to give one a complex, I would think.
That would be putting it mildly, Mr. Zabriskie. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gooden has struck out 5 in this game. He has struck out 10 or more in a ball game 37 times. And to put that in perspective, Nolan Ryan, the greatest strikeout pitcher of all time, has done it 175 times. But Gooden, of course, just a baby. Fastball fouled away. 2-2 the count. Saski in this series 2 for 8. He is the only of the three, only one of the three to have a base hit in this series between Eric Davis, Cal Daniels, and Saski. And it's a fastball for ball 3, 3 balls and 2 strikes. So the heart of the batting order, the 3, 4, 5 batters with only 2 hits in the 3 games. And he gets a piece of it, pops it up, so the strikeout string ends. Mookie Wilson in right. That retires a side. A 1-2-3 inning for Gooden, and the score at the end of 7. The Mets 10 and the Reds nothing. Now here's a word from the good old guys. Magadan will lead it off for the Mets as they come up here in the top of the 8th inning. Dave batting for the first time, hitting 176 so far this year. 3 hits and 17 at bats with 1 run batted in. And Frank Williams misses with his first delivery for ball 1. Keith Hernandez given a little rest. Keith with another big day. A home run, a double, a sacrifice fly for an RBI. And that one a strike, 1-1.
Keith now has driven in 14 runs in his last 5 games.
He has been doing it against left-hand pitching. Mets in this road trip have seen only 1 right-handed starter, and it looks like they'll have a record of 7-1. Hard smash at Larkin at short. Good play there. The throw, a bad throw, and he's not on the bag. So another error for Larkin. And starting this game, Cincinnati's 2nd in errors. This is their 3rd in this game. They now have made 25. St. Louis, the worst team fielding, started their game today with 25 errors.
Also, Larkin does not realize who the runner is. This ball's hit so sharply, he does a great job coming up with it. But Dave Magadan is not a fast runner. He doesn't have to rush as he does, and you can see Saski clearly well off the bag. And Barry Larkin, one of the things that all players who are young and new in the league have to learn is the base runners.
And that'll bring up Lenny Dykstra batting for the first time. Dykstra replacing Strawberry. And he takes the first pitch for ball 1. Dykstra hitting .311 with 3 home runs and 8 runs batted in. And he has to be frustrated. With all these left-handers starting, he is not starting. And he comes up there with that .311 average. 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, one thing that may add a little to his frustration, too, Ralph, is the fine job Mookie Wilson has been doing as the center fielder against left-handed pitching. Mookie in this ball game with a couple of hits and a couple of runs scored and on base 3 times.
And a drive into right field coming over is O'Neill. He pulls it in. So Magadan back to first, 1 away.
Let's check out the Nissan National League scoreboard for you. Atlanta leading Philadelphia in the 9th 9-3. In the 5th inning, Houston leading, or rather Montreal leading Houston 1-0, and everything else in the National League is on the coast later.
Now the batter will be Lee Mazzilli, and he's batting for the first time. McReynolds given a rest. Incidentally, Strawberry 1 for 4 in the game today with a home run. And that home run, his 154th, to tie Dave Kingman for the most home runs by a Mets player. First pitch to Mazzilli, a ball. Mazzilli yet to have a hit. He's been up 11 times this year. Two balls, no strikes. Reynolds 0 for 3 in the game and robbed of a base hit on a great catch by Davis, his last time up in the 5th, last official time up. 3 balls, no strikes.
A game like this for the Mets on a getaway day is really doubly good because it gives the regular players a little extra rest with a night game tomorrow night.
And Mazzilli walks in 4 pitches. Runners now at first and second with 1 out.
Here's the Nissan American League scoreboard. Minnesota defeated Boston 2-0 in the 7th inning. The Rangers are leading the Yankees 4-1. In the 8th inning, Cleveland leads Oakland 4-2. The final score, the Tigers have defeated the Mariners 3-2. In the 7th inning, Toronto leads California 6-3. Chicago over the Orioles in the 5th inning 7-1. And also in the 5th inning, it's the Royals leading the Brewers 2-1.
So Frank Williams with runners at first and second. Mets leading by a score of 10-0. 1 in the first, 4 in the 5th, 4 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th. And a home run barrage. 3 home runs in the 5th inning. And a home run in the 6th. Howard Johnson with one of those home runs. And the first pitch, ball 1. Johnson's 4th home run, a 3-run home run coming in the 6th inning.
Mets now have 33 home runs in their first 22 ball games.
Way ahead of last year's pace when they set a Mets record. Hard smash up the middle of base hit. Magadan coming around third will score. The throw to third base offline. Going to second is Johnson, and he's out.
Good play by Chris Sabo, who saw that the throw to him by center fielder Eric Davis was going to be offline. And Sabo, seeing Johnson trying for second, quickly got the ball over there. Johnson with another hard smash. Davis knows he has no play at home on Magadan, so he tries to get Mazzilli at third. The throw offline. Sabo quickly to Larkin covering to get Johnson. So it's a single and an RBI for Howard Johnson.
And it brings up Barry Lyons. Lyons goes after the curveball. Lyons 0 for 4. Williams now has pitched to 9 batters. Working against Barry Lyons for the second time. And the slider hangs high, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Frank Williams, the third pitcher used. Rasmussen, the start of the pitcher record on the losing side. And the slider is fouled back out of play. Lyons making his first start this year as a catcher. Carter's been rested twice this year. The other time, Mackey Sasser was the starting catcher.
And Barry's trying to join that hit parade. He and McReynolds, the only 2 starters in the game who don't have base hits. McReynolds at least reached on an error and walked and scored. Barry's 0 for 4, still looking to get on base.
Mets hitting .252 as a team coming into this game, tied for second with their hit total today. 12 hits. They can very well go into first. They lead in home runs, obviously, with 33. And the slider again. Full count of 3-2. Williams won a doubleheader one day, working in relief for San Francisco. The first San Francisco Giant pitcher to ever do that. And he now walks Barry Lyons, so Lyons gets on base. And everyone in the starting lineup has been on base. Reynolds did get on once without a hit when he walked, and now Lyons walks. Let's get their 7th walk in this game to go with their 12 hits.
And 3 errors. Been a plethora of base runners.
The batter is Kevin Elster, who's been on base every time. 1 base hit and 3 walks. Elster now 9 for 15 in his last 5 games. Runners at first and third as action is going in the bullpen. Jose Real throwing out there. A little blooper out towards second. Treadway has it, and that'll do it. In the inning, the Mets pick up 1 run unearned on 1 hit, an error, a walk, and 2 men left on base. And the score at the end of 7.5 innings, the Mets 11, the Reds nothing. to May. There is no better way to spend the afternoon with Steve Zabriskie, who's coming in for the play-by-play.
Thank you, Ralphie. Great to be at the ballpark on a beautiful day. Of course, the Reds fans have not had a lot to be too thrilled about today, and they come from all over this area, from Indiana and Kentucky, and a lot of them have left, too.
There are 10 million fans, or 10 million people, in the 100-mile radius of Cincinnati.
And the minority of those are in the city of Cincinnati. They do come a long way. Paul O'Neill leads off against the Doctor and flies out to short left field. Mazzilli coming on, calling Elster off the play, and there's one away. Dwight has been mowing him down. He allowed 2 base hits back in the 3rd inning to Treadway, who led off, and an infield base hit to Larkin with 2 out. Since that time, he has allowed 1 base runner, and that was a leadoff walk to McClendon in the 6th inning, who was erased on a double play. And here's Jeff Treadway, who has 1 of those 2 Cincinnati base hits. A single to left in the 3rd. And he fouls one off. Strike 1.
Dwight Gooden with a victory here today, and he's leading by a score of 11-0, would be 6-0. He was the youngest pitcher in Major League history to win 20 ball games, beating Bob Feller out by about a month. Dwight was 20 years old, 9 months and 9 days. Bob Feller won 20 ball games when he was 20 years old, 10 months and 5 days back in 1939.
Skipping rope, and Treadway goes down. And the count 1-1. Dave Collins on deck as a pinch hitter.
Gooden 1 of 6 to win the Triple Crown of pitching. Lead the major leagues in strikeouts, wins, and ERA.
Breaking ball stays high, and Dwight wants a different ball. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Walter Johnson, the Triple Crown. Grover Cleveland Alexander, the Triple Crown. Dazzy Vance, the Triple Crown. Lefty Grove, the Triple Crown. And the only one not in the Hall of Fame, of course not Dwight Gooden, was Hal Newhouser, who won the Triple Crown.
There's the 3rd base hit. A looper into left center field by Treadway, who has 2 of the 3. And he is at first base with 1 out here in the 8th inning. The Mets comfortably in front, 11-0.
Well, Treadway with a hard single his first time up, and this time he gets a little bleeder in here. Hits it off the trademark, loops it into left center field for a base hit. The other hit off Gooden was an infield base hit by Barry Larkin.
So Dave Collins will be the pinch hitter for the pitcher Frank Williams. Collins hitting 176, 250 from the left side. And he fouls one off out of play for strike 1. As a pinch hitter, Davis 2 for 11. Dwight Gooden, incidentally, donates $1,000 for every victory as a pitcher to a different children's hospital around the country. And so already Doc has donated $5,000 to 5 different hospitals. Down low with a fastball, 1-1 to Collins. If he wins today, and he is leading 11-0 in the 8th, he will donate $1,000 to the Children's Hospital and Medical Center of Cincinnati. And when he won in Atlanta this past week, he donated $1,000 to a children's hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. Grounded foul, and the count now 1-2. At the rate he's going, with $6,000 already this year, there'll be a lot of good done for a lot of sick kids around the country by the time this baseball season's over. No pun intended. What a breaking ball. See you later, David. Strikeout number 6 for Dwight Gooden.
He's got 6 strikeouts in this game, and every one of them have been on a curveball. This one in a perfect spot, and Collins drags it back.
And they even have a K corner for him here in Cincinnati. 2 out. Treadway still at first base. And the batter will be McClendon, batting for the second time. He walked his first time up. And he grounds it weakly to short. Elster over in time to Magadan, and the inning is over. 1 hit and 1 left here in the 8th inning for New York, as the Mets and the Doctor roll on through. It's 11-0, and we will go to the 9th after this for Bud Light. Dwight Gooden will lead off the 9th inning for New York, as the Mets lead behind the Doctor's 3-hit shutout 11-0. He will be facing a new pitcher, Jose Rijo.
Rijo 3-1 with an earned run average at 3.77. He's walked 11, struck out 10, given up 13 hits and 14 in the 3rd innings.
Outside ball 1, as Dwight has singled in 4 trips. He has had a hit now in each of his last 5 starts. Popped up and playable. Nick Esaski in foul territory, 1 away. One out in the 9th.
When Gooden broke into the major leagues pitching for the Yankees at a younger age than Dwight Gooden was Jose Rijo. Not with the same results.
No, I'd say they have both been on odysseys, but of a different type.
Rijo married to Juan Marichal's daughter.
Here's Mookie Wilson, who takes a strike. Mookie's had a good day. He's 2 for 4 with a single, a double, 2 runs scored, and he walked once.
Juan Marichal in the Hall of Fame, the first from the Dominican Republic to ever make the Hall of Fame.
Grounded up the middle. Larkin cuts it off and gets Mookie at first, 2 away. Well, that makes me old, or at least feel old, Ralph, when you say that Jose Rijo's married to Juan Marichal's daughter, because I grew up, of course, watching Juan Marichal pitch in California for the Giants.
You think you feel old. Rasmussen, the losing pitcher in this ball game, his grandfather was a teammate of mine, Bill Brubaker.
Boy. Time marches on. Here's Tim Teufel with 2 out and nobody on. Low ball 1. Teufel 2 for 5, a 2-run home run, a double, 2 runs scored, 3 runs scored, swing and a miss, 1-1. And his 2 outs, as well as the ball that he reached on an error, were all hit quite hard. Off the end of the bat again, that slider, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Teufel 5 for 12 in this series with 5 runs scored, and he also had 2 runs batted in. So Teufel breaking out of that batting slump.
A fastball grounded hard. Larkin comes up with it. Can he get him? Yes, he did. Nick Esaski with a good play at the other end. And what a play by Barry Larkin, who has made a couple of errors in this game, but just turned in a beauty to rob Teufel of yet another base hit. 11-0 Mets as we go to the bottom of the 9th. After this, for your Lincoln Mercury deal, some of the diehards who have remained for their love of the game, regardless of the fact that the Mets lead 11-0. Better than 33,000 were here at one time this afternoon, but most of them have gone home. A paid crowd of 31,535. And Barry Larkin in the top of the order for the bottom of the 9th inning, as Cincinnati faces the Doctor down by 11. Big curveball, and Dwight's had it from the word go. Strike 1. And the Doctor will be Ralph's guest on a special road edition of Kiner's Corner right after the ball game, so stay with us. The fastball fouled off, and it's 0-2 to Larkin. Dwight, if he can complete this 9th inning, will be the first Mets pitcher since 1985 to have 4 complete games in a row. For Dwight, they will be shutouts, and the last pitcher to pitch 4 complete game victories was Dwight Gooden in 1985, July 25th through August 10th. The breaking ball stays high, And the count 1 ball 2 strikes. I guess when people say that the doctor is back to his 85 form, it's in more ways than one. That ball will be out of play behind the New York dugout. And the count remains 0-2 to Barry Larkin. Dwight has scattered 3 hits. Larkin had an infield hit in the 3rd, and Treadway has had 2 singles, 1 in the 3rd and 1 in the 8th. Dwight has struck out 6 and walked only 1 through his first 8 innings. Off of Gooden's glove, but right to the second baseman Tuffle, and they get the speedy Barry Larkin for out number 1. Those 2 guys both instrumental in the victory today, as the Mets have pounded out 11 runs on 12 hits. And here's Chris Sabo, who's 0 for 3. Sabo's grounded out all 3 times up. His last time up, he grounded into an inning-ending double play. Fastball fouled back for strike 1. And Dwight just keeps firing here in the 9th inning. A happy birthday, incidentally, to the wife of the Mets equipment manager, Charlie Samuels, Charlene Samuels, who is celebrating her birthday today. And Charlie, there he is, wearing Ron Darling's jacket. Charlie getting ready for the trip home, packing everything up. Says, "Happy birthday, Charlene." A curveball ripped out of the eyes of Sabo down the left field line. Mazzilli over to get it as Sabo cruises in with an easy double. Hit number 4 for Cincinnati, but it comes with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th inning. Watch where this pitch is. This is out of the strike zone. Sabo goes up and gets the breaking ball, hanging there about shoulder high, and just whips it into the left field corner. He is a good-looking young hitter who already has 4 homers this season. Playing, of course, because of the injury to Buddy Bell. Here's Eric Davis, just 5 hits in his last 45 at-bats and 0 for 3 today. A fastball a little bit high for ball 1. 1 out, 1 on here in the bottom of the 9th. Another beautiful breaking ball. It's 1-1. You're watching Mets baseball 88 on WWOR TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. 1 ball, 1 strike to Eric Davis. 1 out. Another curveball, just a little bit high. 2-1. Davis entered this game a career .571 hitter against Dwight Gooden, but he has popped out, grounded out, and flied out. And Dwight steps off, and he and catcher Barry Lyons couldn't seem to get together, so they'll have a conference. Here they've worked the whole game together. It's 11-0, and you might wonder, why do they need to have a conference? Well, they've gone to a sequence of signs because there's a runner at second. And they haven't had a runner at second except one time back in the 3rd inning. So they just want to be sure, and properly so. Fastball, I guess it was high. 3-1 to Davis. White with outstanding velocity and that great curveball all afternoon long. And for a guy who doesn't like to pitch in the daytime, he's been doing pretty good. Fly ball to right field, an easy play except for the sun for Mookie Wilson. No effort at all by Sabo to tag with an 11-run deficit. So 2 out here in the 9th inning, and Davis now 5 for his last 46 and 0 for 4 in the ball game. That'll bring up Leo Garcia, who will be batting for the 2nd time. Garcia replaced Cal Daniels in left field after Daniels was hurt, making an attempt at Howard Johnson's home run ball. Bojo with a 3-run homer in the 6th inning. Garcia lined out to shortstop Kevin Elster, his first time up in the 7th. 2 out with Sabo at second base. The curveball is high for ball 1. Dwight going after his 4th consecutive complete game victory. And the first Mets pitcher to do it since he did it in '85. Just shattered his bat. Garcia thrown out by Gooden, and the ball game is over. Dwight Gooden goes to 6-0 with a masterful 4-hit shutout of the Cincinnati Reds here at Riverfront this afternoon. For the doctor, his 2nd shutout of the year, his 4th complete game. He strikes out 6, walks only 1 in going the distance yet again, and becomes, as I said, the first New York pitcher since '85 to have 4 complete games in a row. The losing pitcher is Cincinnati starter Eric Rasmussen, who is now 1-3 on the year. We'll be back with a brief wrap-up, and of course stay tuned, because Ralph will be along with Kiner's Corner as the Mets close out a great road trip with an 11-0 victory over Cincinnati. We'll be back after this for Budweiser.